Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you fine, yeah. Where are you? You're lake country? You cottage country? You up, Muskoka, or where are you at? Because 'Cause you're from Toronto,
I'm
right?
about 5 hours north of that. So I'm in Northern Ontario, just north of Sudbury.
Sweet. That's cool.
Yeah.
Little
Yeah.
little
So
lo
we're just kind of
lay low time and just relax, and
lay low time, enjoying kind of the second summer. I don't know what the weather's like there, but we've been having like it's summer again here.
it's been, surprisingly good. Yeah, surprising,
Yeah.
and of course, no forest fires, or fewer forest fires than BC normally gets, right?
Good. That's good news.
Yeah, and so did you grow up in Toronto then?
No, I grew up in Sudbury.
Okay, what was that like? That's a bit smaller town, isn't it?
It's smallish. It's a mining town.
Yeah.
Um, of blue collar workers, so a lot of partying as a result.
Yeah.
Lots of outdoor stuff, as you can see. This is kind of typical for around here. Typical, but not. Lots of lakes, lots of, you know, hunting, fishing, all of that kind of stuff. So,
Mhm.
yeah, a little bit different than city life, that's for sure.
Yeah, no doubt. And what did you want to do as a kid? Like, because the reason why I got you to come on the podcast is I love your Instagram account. Like
Thank,
I love your
thank you.
positivity. It's uplifting, it's nostalgic.
Yeah,
Being a kid
yeah.
from the born in the 70s, grew up in the 80s and 90s, and it really hits home. And what is it that, like, what were the aspirations for you as a kid? Like, what did you want to do?
Well, you know what? I always wanted to be a teacher, and I was an educator for a long time.
Mm,
I think because my dad was a teacher and my mom also worked. Later on, when my sister and I were older, she went back to work and she worked in a school setting. So it's just kind of something that I don't know that I always wanted to do that, but it's just like I don't know about you, but you kind of followed in the path of your parents or did what you thought you had to do, and that was something that I thought I had to do, so I did it.
mm,
It's funny you asked that question because I was just talking to a friend the other day about things that you think you want to do when you're a kid, but then reality sets in and you're like, wait, I can't do that and make a living out of it.
right.
So I want to be a cake decorator for the longest time. And if I could go into that and be extremely successful at it, I would just do that in a heartbeat. But
Right.
I
It
guess
seems
you
to
can do
me like if you wanted
that.
to do that with your account and with your social media presence, that you could probably do that. Like, isn't it crazy to think how far the world, or the internet, I guess, has spun, and like the idea of influencers when you and I were kids, it doesn't even register.
No, it didn't exist, right? Like, I don't know. I just did a post the other day about, the whole Dave Grohl thing. And it's just funny that we even know that about him now, right? Like
It's funny that he
when
would
we,
post that on his page though too, right? Like, it makes me wonder, what, like, did somebody say, like, you need to do that? Like, you need to be the person that's how
yeah,
people find out?
definitely getting out in front of it, letting, hearing it from the horse's mouth, you know what I mean, instead of
Mhm.
finding out secondhand information. And that's how we found out, like you said, when we were kids. We didn't know things about celebrities back in the day. We knew what was published in the teen magazines we got. We knew what we saw on Much Music or MTV. But aside from that, there was no connection to celebrities. And you know what? I think I kind of liked it better that way. It's because you could
Mhm.
you could build this person up to the fantasy figure that you want them to be and just believe that to be true. But now we know the actual truth, and it's sometimes a little bit disconcerting. So I don't know about you, but I just kind of try to stay away from the reality and just enjoy the music for what it is.
Like, yeah, I try to, but it's really hard to sometimes, you know?
Yeah, it is.
Like,
It is hard to
like,
overlook some things.
totally, right? Like, you'd never think, if somebody had said in like 1990 that we would know about all of our favorite bands quicker than Spin Magazine or Rolling Stone or Circus, or any of
Yeah.
those magazines, you'd be like, nah, that's just never gonna happen. It's just never gonna happen.
No, No,
That's crazy.
like we wanted to know, sometimes you want to know all these things. And then when you have the access to the information, you wish you didn't. So it's kind of ironic in that way, I guess.
Yeah, totally, right? Like, it's like, "Oh, no, the curtain's too much. Pull the curtain back, it's too much." Yeah, I
And
think I
that,
have you by a few years because 'cause I'd asked you, uh, I can't remember how I found out your birth year or roughly your birth year, but I think I got you by a few because 'cause I'm 73.
okay,
Um,
I'm turning 50 in February. So it's my
that maybe that's
last,
what it is because I was like, "Yeah, I'm 50." That's what it was. Because I graduated in '91 with, like, big records, right? Like, Metallica's Black and Chili Peppers' Blood Sugar and Soundgarden and Nirvana and, like, all these huge, huge, records. What were you
Mhm.
listening to back then in the late '80s, early '90s?
You know what? I was a hairband girl.
Yeah.
So I
Hard to get away
loved,
from that, though. So much of it.
pardon?
I said it's hard to get away from that because there was just so much of it.
It was, and it was just kind of what I fell into, I guess. You're heavily influenced by your peers at that time, and that's just what we were listening to. Motley Crue, the Choir Boys, even a little bit off of hair bands, things like the Black Crowes.
Yeah.
I was a huge Van Halen fan, the Sammy Hagar era. Although I started to love Van Halen earlier on when I was, like 8 or 9, and David Lee Roth was still lead, but I loved them for the longest time.
I
Just
think that the
everything in that.
that the Van Halen, it's a bit of a game changer with the videos and stuff. Like, remember Friday Night Videos and, like, Good Rockin'
Yes,
Tonight? And when you see these
yeah,
videos, like 1984, and they had, like, Jump, and they Hot for Teacher, and Panama, like, all these videos made it so that they seemed, like, so much bigger than what they were, even though they're big bands at the time, but they
yeah.
seemed like untouchable bands.
Videos were game changers, and I think it was Friday Night Videos. My dad used to record on the VCR so that we could watch it because I think I
Nice.
was probably only about 10 at that time. So of course I didn't stay up until 11 or whatever time the video show was on. So he would record it for us, and that was always a big deal. And so it's just so funny to think that um again our access to that was so limited that we saw it once a week. And if you
Yeah,
didn't record it or stay up to watch it, you just didn't see it again. You couldn't catch it later on YouTube like you could now. So,
right.
and yeah, I think your point about the videos is have you watched any recent videos?
Why
I haven't.
are bands even making videos anymore? I don't know.
I think they do, but kind of low budget ones. Like I
Yeah,
saw the Bon Jovi video. I can't remember what the title of the song, but I was like, wow, is this what videos have turned
um,
into? It was kind of like this
yeah,
low budget thing. I'm in a cornfield. I don't know. It was kind of embarrassing. But
yeah,
and to your point, back to those great concert videos, live video footage and stuff that bands made, they're just so great back in the day.
yeah. Like, even a video like Duran Duran, "Hungry Like the Wolf," where it almost
Yeah,
tells the story as the song's unfolding. You
yeah,
don't
definitely.
get that anymore. I think the bands are just like at that point of like, I'll release the music, I'll put it up on social media, I'll play some shows, and I don't think that
Yeah.
they're concerned about music videos anymore. More that
For
they'll do
me,
like, here's the lyric video as opposed to a music video.
mhm. I
Yeah,
don't know about the return on investment in making a big budget video anymore. Like you said, back in the day, it was like an event. It was, you couldn't wait for the video to premiere because it was like a short film kind of thing. That's
yeah,
just not the same anymore. I guess the control that they have over that video is probably limited. I don't know. I'm just guessing. And so
yeah.
the um, the point in putting so much money in behind it is just kind of pointless now.
Sure. Like, do you remember how big an event the Michael Jackson Thriller video was? Like, it was huge.
Yeah.
Everybody in school
It-
was talking about it, right? Like, holy crap,
yeah.
it's 17 minutes long. Oh my God. I can't wait for it Friday night. Like, I can't wait.
What a
Music,
video though, right?
oh, insane. Like, insane.
Yeah.
Mandy, the Generation Expert, I want to play a game of this or that with you, and it's music
Okay.
related right now.
Yeah. Okay.
So, Pearl Jam or Soundgarden?
Soundgarden.
Did you see them live?
I have not. You know what? I kind of, because I was kind of more of a hairband girl, I was kind of resented the grunge movement when it came in.
Oh,
Whether or not you classify Soundgarden as grunge is, debatable, but so I didn't instantly love those bands, Pearl Jam, Soundgarden. I have more an appreciation for them now, but at the time, I wasn't really into it.
mm,
But today, I would choose Soundgarden over Pearl Jam.
okay. How about Metallica and Green Day?
Hmm. Hmm. That's actually a hard one. I think I'd probably go with Green Day, just because listening to Metallica for a long period of time, I can't quite do, but I do enjoy quite a few of their songs
Yeah, they're so good.
sporadically.
So good. Have you seen Metallica live?
I have not, have not.
Crushing. Punishing band. Absolutely punishing.
I would
How
love
about
to.
REM or Nirvana?
REM
Really? Okay.
for sure. Yeah.
What's their best album?
Well, I'm gonna have to go with Violator.
Okay.
Um, I don't know tons of their other albums, but that's definitely one that sticks out in my mind that, uh I would play over and over.
Yeah. How about the Pumpkins or Foo Fighters?
Foo Fighters.
Yeah, same.
Foo, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you
Sorry,
seen
I'm
Foo
distracted
Fighters?
right now because squirrel, there's a squirrel about to jump on me. So if I scream, you know why.
Uh,
I fed it a long and now it's a little bit too comfortable.
yeah, yeah.
I
Blink
have seen it.
182, Blink 182 or Weezer?
Weezer. Weezer. Yeah.
I might go the same. I do like
Yeah.
Blink. They almost perished with the plane crash with Travis Barker. Hey, the drummer in Blink had he was in a plane crash.
Yeah. Yeah.
Crazy.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
I don't know. I think they're touring. Are they not right now?
they are. Yeah, yeah. How about Jane's Addiction or U2?
You too.
You heard
You
about
too.
Jane's Addiction right over the weekend?
I saw that little dust up.
Well, dust up there, yeah. A little like what is up? And I don't think that band's getting back together again. Like I think that's it.
When you have
They
so
get
many
to that
strong
point.
persons that clash all the time, my
Yeah.
thought is almost, well, I know it's financially motivated, but why keep trying to relive the glory days? Or were they glory days? I'm not sure, but it
Yeah.
doesn't
Oh,
seem
for
like they
sure.
can get.
You look at the I mean, the band was pretty influential, especially, Perry Farrell starting up Lollapalooza.
Mhm.
He's the genius and the mastermind behind almost you could almost even argue that he was the reason why there's traveling festivals or that there was traveling festivals.
Right. Yeah.
So,
I
yeah,
don't know.
pretty big band.
It's almost like at that stage when they become such big personalities, um, I feel like go out on your own and do your thing because I'm sorry, I'm competing with the squirrel now.
I know, I see it's
Or
got a little bit of your attention there. That's funny.
yeah, so when these strong personalities get together and they become like these kind of divas and it inevitably crashes and burns, although not always. Sometimes you have successful reunions, but I don't know about that one.
Yeah, yeah. How about Nine Inch Nails or Rage Against the Machine?
Those are two I would say that I don't really know enough of their catalog to say. Just out of the songs I know, I'd probably pick Nine Inch Nails,
Yeah,
but uh, I'd have to do more of a deep dive on those two.
okay. Last one. Pantera, Aerosmith. I think I know this
Oh,
one. Aerosmith.
Aerosmith,
Yeah.
Aerosmith.
Did
Yeah,
you
I
get
was
into
kind
Pantera? I'm trying to touch into these bands that are still touring, that there's a
of,
bit
yeah,
of a shock value to it. Like there are some people that were quite pissed off that Pantera is doing what they're doing. Like I'm a huge fan of the band. And I
yeah,
think that, for people that have never seen the band before, you know, the death of the brothers, like, this is huge for fans of that band.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I don't know, people get upset about seeing bands take a different direction than maybe they're used to. They like the familiarity of the band they knew, so
Yeah,
I don't know if that plays into it at all, but I think
yeah,
there's something
possibly.
to that, the
And
nostalgia factor.
and did you see Aerosmith? Because, of course, they're done, right? Like, Steven has said, like, "I can't
Um,
tour anymore." I don't know that they're done completely, like, they may do maybe some studio stuff, but I don't think we'll see them touring.
no, I don't think so. I have seen them in concert, actually one of the best concerts that I've ever seen, just if you take into consideration everything involved as pure entertainment value.
Yeah,
I loved seeing Aerosmith for that. Um, I had planned to go see them on their upcoming tour. I haven't purchased any tickets yet, but so yeah, it's quite a bummer when I heard that they'd canceled
yeah,
the rest of their tour. That was it for
that's it.
them.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
good for them for calling it quits when they need to call it quits instead of going out on tour and having to randomly cancel because you can't make a show or,
Totally.
lots of bands do that. And I think it's really disappointing to fans.
Yeah, I mean, and they've gotta be what, 70,
Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
think, like
It's good anyway.
70 plus, like, this old.
Yeah.
Yeah. What what was
Because
your
what you make
first
is that you've seen Mick Jagger dancing around at 80. He looks like he's
he
25,
well, he
the way
looks
he can
amazing,
move.
and the reason why he can still do that is because he kept on continually doing that. If he had
That's
stopped
right.
for 10 years, he probably couldn't have got back into it.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
Uh,
You
what
just
would
keep going.
what was your first concert, Mandy?
Well, my first concert um, was actually Gordon Lightfoot. I went with my parents. They dragged me and my sister. I don't know why they decided to do this, but I think I was about, I want to say 6. And so that makes my sister only 3 at the time.
Hmm,
And Gordon Lightfoot played locally in Sudbury at the Sudbury Arena. And my parents brought us, and I hated it. I have a distinct memory of laying down across the seats while other people are standing up, just hating life. But,
yeah,
I don't think Gordon Lightfoot's quite the choice for a 6-year-old as their first concert.
not really, no. I mean, no.
But then as kind of like an older appreciator of music, my first really big concert was actually Van Halen and Alice in Chains in Toronto. That was about 1991, I want to say.
Awesome. Yeah,
Yeah, the For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge tour. It was
okay.
great. It was,
That was a
yeah,
crushing night, of course.
yes, it was great. And I can't believe my parents let me take a bus with strangers on a 4-hour trip down to Toronto to a concert when I was 16. But hey, I did, and it was fun. So, and
Pretty
here I
cool.
am, a survivor.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty cool. Okay, let's do, this or that, but with movies from Gen
Okay.
X. So,
Yeah.
Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas or Point Break.
Point Break.
Yeah, great movie.
Keanu Reeves, Patrick Swayze. Great plot. I loved it. I
Yeah.
loved it. What
Uh,
would you go for that?
I would probably go Fear and Loathing, although I
Yeah.
do
Yeah.
love Point Break as well. But Fear and
Yeah.
Loathing, I mean, it's just
Great movie.
Johnny Depp is magic in that movie. Magic.
He is. He is. Yeah.
Usual Suspects or Jurassic Park.
Usual Suspects. Not a Jurassic Park fan.
Oh,
I can appreciate it for what it is, but just not really my thing.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Fight Club or Men in Black.
Fight Club.
Yeah, same.
Fight Club. Yeah. Yeah. I'm not a huge Will Smith fan, to be honest.
Yeah,
I don't
especially
know what it
since the slap too. Like once the slap
well,
happened, I'm like, fuck, dude, really? That's terrible, man. What a shitty
that's
attitude.
one of those cases where the more you know about someone, the less you can kind of get into their work. But
Totally. And
even before
that shows just a lot of like his personality too, right? Like for him to do that, for him to think that's okay, to sit down calmly, to continue as if nothing happened, like
Mhm.
brutal. That's
Mhm.
brutal.
And just the lack of self-control as an adult, in that situation is surprising, actually.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know, but yeah, Men in Black just not really my thing.
Natural Born Killers or True Romance?
Natural Born Killers.
Yeah, great
I'm
movie.
trying to romance. Is that the one with
True Romance is with Patricia Arquette and Christian
Christian Slater?
Slater.
Yes, I think so.
And like Gary
Yeah.
Oldman's in it as well as like the big drug lord, and it's
Right,
it's a
right, right.
super super violent movie, great story.
Yeah,
It's a tough one
yeah.
for
No,
me.
I think I'll go with Natural Born Killers for that one too.
Yeah. What was the last movie you saw in theater?
Oof,
Can you
that's a good
can you
question. You know
remember?
what? I think it might have been the last Mission Impossible. That's
Okay.
how long it's been. It's
Yeah.
been forever. I'm not I don't have the patience to sit down to watch a whole movie anymore.
Mm,
And that's another thing that we were talking about recently is how when new movies used to come out, that was the thing. That was the thing we were excited for. It was hyped up in our peer group to all go and see this movie because we didn't have access to it any other way, right? But to go to the theater. And now it's just different. We can watch a movie anytime we like when it comes out,
sure.
on Apple TV or whatever. And so, and yeah, back to the patience. I can't sit there for 2, 3 hours anymore. I watch movies in chunks now.
Yeah, I find that, yeah, I mean, most of the time I'm watching movies that my kids would want to watch. Like I
Right.
did go to the Wolverine Deadpool movie, but that was like probably the first adult movie that I've seen in 5 years,
Oh,
in a theater. Otherwise, it's all cartoons and kid shit. And
oh,
yeah,
right.
yeah,
Well, we I was going to see a few movies before COVID, and then that kind of shut everything down. Then just haven't returned to it since. So
yeah,
I don't know. It's just the time in my life when I'm interested in doing other things, I guess. And so an outing for that is just not my priority right now.
yeah. No, fair enough. And so when you find time to binge watch like shows, what are you watching lately?
Oh, what did I recently watched? If I can remember the title of it, I'll be shocked. It was something on Netflix where it was like a road rage scenario. Maybe you can think of the title of that, where these people get in an altercation involving road rage, and it just kind of chronicles how they deal with it in their lives moving forward. It was it was really, yeah, I binge watched it for someone
Mhm.
who doesn't watch things. I wish I could remember the title, but of course I can't. It's like a one-word title, but it'll come to me at some point.
Oh, I know now you say one word. Yeah, I do know what you're talking about.
Like it might be called Rage or something like that.
Yeah.
Um, but it was good. I liked it.
Mm, mhm.
Yeah.
What do you think is the biggest Gen X event? Like, is it the fall of the Berlin Wall, or like where does 9/11
Hmm.
fit into the mix? Is it the Challenger disaster? Like, do you remember where you
The
were when that happened?
first thing that came to my mind was the Challenger,
Yeah.
if, uh, because we were in school watching it. I don't know
Right.
about
Yeah.
you, but
Same. Yeah.
uh, that's where we were, and it was just kind of like
Like
I
what?
think I was too young to appreciate the severity of what just occurred in front of my eyes. Um, but having said that, 40 years later, I still remember it
Mm,
vividly. So it must have had some kind of impact,
yeah.
right? So, and that's kind of crazy to think that we just sat there watching that happen. But I guess we all sat there watching 9/11 too. And it's kind of this sense of disbelief at first. Like, no, we didn't really just see that, did we? But yes, we did.
Yeah.
So
nine
I,
eleven was crazy. I was doing a morning show over at a radio station over in Victoria. And it, of
mm,
course, was unfolding right as we're doing the show, and, like,
yeah.
it was, you know, y it just didn't seem real. It seemed like
Oh, no.
Hollywood was in New York City, and they were
Yeah.
filming things, and planes were flying into buildings, and didn't
Especially
seem
once
real
the
at all.
second plane hit, you know?
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
That's crazy. And of course, now with all the conspiracy theories of like, oh, it was set up by the US government and like it truly wasn't terrorism. And you can see, they're showing videos of things blowing out the sides of the build of the twin towers, and like how is it collapsing so quickly, and how did the plane slice through it like butter, and like, oh my god, oh my god. Yeah. Do you remember what it was like when the clocks turned over to 2000 and they were like, oh, everybody's computer's gonna die, and like we won't be able to keep
You would
up, and the web's
fly
gonna
to take me scare.
I know, like, what the hell? It's crazy to think about that Gen X stuff.
Remember where I was on the New Year's Eve leading into that,
Yeah.
and there's actually some fear at the party that, when the clock strikes 00000 or whatever it was,
Mm.
what's going to happen? But turns out nothing. So here we
Well,
are,
nothing. Here we are 24 years later. Are, are
24
you
years.
big into sports, Mandy? Like, who's your team?
I am not.
Mm.
I hate to say it. I am not a sports fan
Yeah,
of any
fair enough.
kind, really. I don't know. Is it just I'm not into sports.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, if I had to pick a sport to go and watch, you know what I really like to go to watch as someone who's not a sports fan
Mm.
is professional basketball.
Okay. Yeah, see, that's fun.
Yeah, I've been to a Raptors game and it was fun because there's just so much else to do there other than watch the game. And for somebody like me, it keeps me
Yeah.
entertained. So
There's a lot of
yeah,
eye candy going around, especially during the halftime, and they've got like people on stilts and fire throwers and all this sort of shit, and like it's more
yeah,
than just the game.
it is. It is. And so it keeps the squirrel in my brain you know, attentive. So that's good.
That's funny.
Yeah.
If you could cast any actress, I guess, or alive or dead, to play you in a film about your life, who would you pick?
Oh God. Um, hmm. Well, that's a good question. You know what? I get a lot that um well, now I can't remember her name. I get told that I look like Heather Locklear a lot,
There's Locklear.
but
Okay.
Locklear is quite a bit older than me, so I don't know how she'd play me. But
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
um maybe if we could reverse, roll back time, she'd be a good fit because I think that's a lot of people see that similarity.
Yeah,
Um, so I'd probably go with her. And she's a beautiful woman. So I'm just
she is.
complimenting myself. But
She is, yes. I'll ask you a couple more, and we'll wrap it up here. Thank you again for taking some time
no,
here, as you're truly, obviously relaxing and enjoying life at the moment.
yeah, yeah.
Um, do you believe that aliens have visited us, or maybe do visit us still, or live among us?
Are you asking me this because I like Van Halen and Sammy Hagar believes in aliens? Um, you know what? I think alien is a term that we associate with a certain uh look, like the alien from TV and whatever.
Mm.
And while I don't necessarily believe in that kind of alien, I can't say that there's no life somewhere in this giant universe of ours in some form. Is it the form that we picture in our head, the little green man? Probably not.
Mm.
Um, but I do think there's some kind of life out there somewhere. Whether or not we come into contact with it is another story. Um, but yeah, I don't think I can discount that there's something else out there somewhere.
Yes, especially considering that they say that the universe is like infinite and it never, ever, ever ends. And like, there's a
Right.
potential that they're coming through and just watching us and going like, nah, I don't think so. Like, we'll just leave those.
No, thank you.
We'll leave them alone. They're fucking it up on their own. That's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They won't be here much longer. That's probably
totally.
what they're thinking.
We'll take over that planet in just a couple hundred years.
Yeah.
Uh,
And we'll have wait for the music.
yeah, exactly. Um, this isn't necessarily a question, more of a story, and I'm wondering, do you have a near-death story? where you're like, holy shit, I could have just died there?
So many, like growing up in the 80s as we all did with parents who were I don't know where they were and they didn't know where I was. And so
Sure.
you
Just be
did
home
so many
when the street lights come on.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Um and so we just did so many things as a kid that I couldn't even picture letting my own kids do today, right? My kids are grown now, they're 18 and 21, but even when they were kids, there's no way I would have let my kids just out the door and not checked in.
No, same.
The world has changed since I was a kid, but yeah, we did tons of things, playing on thin ice in the winter, people falling through the ice, crazy wipeouts on your bike, crazy um, driving of motorized vehicles where they shouldn't go, even in cars on roads going so fast that you're like flying through the air. It's just like, you know what? I can't believe that more people aren't dead,
I
to
know,
be
right?
honest.
Like, I think that it's
Um,
like it felt like once we got to like 18, 19, it's like, okay, I think I'll probably live for a while now.
you made it. You made it. Yeah. Uh, just, just lots of stories like that. One in particular, I can't really think of, but just, I'm sure we have the same kind of experiences all as Gen X kids.
Yeah.
Like I said, who just grew up doing whatever they want, using the stove when you're 5 years old, just, having access to all of these things. I remember my friends and I, when we were about 12 years old, would go home to one girlfriend's house for lunch and we would do stuff like take a lighter and spray hairspray on it to make this flamethrower just in the house at lunchtime, just stuff like
Yeah.
that. Like, how is there no fire? I don't know.
Totally. Like, how'd you not
And
burn the house down?
well, exactly. Like those are just little stories here and there, but yeah,
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
survived though.
Yeah. What a different time. We lived in the best time. We had that where you had to wait to get news, and there was something about going to somebody's house and ringing their doorbell to see if they're home, and taking the phone off the receiver if you didn't feel like taking a phone call, and we
Yeah.
lived in the
Yeah,
best
and when
time.
you called their house, you had to talk to the parents first and ask if you could speak to so and so. And
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, there's a lot more social interactions too. And I I think a lot of the time about my kids and how they spend a lot of time socializing online. And part of me realizes, well, that's the way it is now. And so to deprive them of that is depriving them of a social experience. But I wonder if um, they wish they could have a childhood more like we did, where we were outside just actually playing and doing stuff all the time. I want that for them, but that's because I'm biased because that was my experience.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
and then, like I said, I don't think we can wish our own lives upon others, and they have their own experiences, right? So it's kind of
Sure. I bet you they
a
think the
weird.
same thing. Like, I wonder if my mom and my dad would rather have full internet and everything else. Like, and the answer is no, I
No,
don't.
that's right. Like my daughter will say things to me like, "Oh, I had to call the pharmacy today like a pioneer, instead of just going online." And
Yeah, yeah.
like, no, that's not a pioneer, but I hear what you're saying.
That's great. Awesome, Mandy. Thank you again for taking some time out
Well,
of your
thanks
day
for having me.
to join us. Where is the best place for people to find you? Like, you're most active on Instagram?
Most active on Instagram. I am on Facebook and TikTok as well, but Instagram is probably where I'm most active most of the time.
Okay.
So you can check me out there under Mandy Stans.